Thanks for tuning in to Barbershop Sports Talk.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. You know, another uninspiring performance on offense. Failure to rush for over 100 yards. The offensive line is shot. To me, Ben is. I don't even know what to say anymore. What are your thoughts about what's going on in Pittsburgh on the offensive side of the ball?
Same story, different week. Um, you know, reports came out of Pittsburgh this morning and this week. This morning, Jason La Canfora, that they're not ready right now to pull the plug on Big Ben, to the chagrin of some in the organization. But there is some concern. If this keeps up, you wonder if they make a change. That would come at the bye week. But Mike Tomlin has no plans for that right now. But it's just the same thing every week with the Steelers. This is not a good match with new offensive coordinator Matt Canada and Ben Roethlisberger. Ben Roethlisberger, 2-6 his last 8 games, under 6 yards an attempt. He had 5.8 yards an attempt. Darryl, if you're doing somewhat average or replaceable, that's about 7 yards an attempt. He got at 5.8, and he's been like that a lot this year and at the end of the season last year. Cannot throw the ball downfield. He's erratic down the field. Missing easy throws. And they're forced to throw the ball because they can't get their run game going. Couldn't get it going today with Najee Harris and Benny Snell. So, you look at the Steelers team and they're just so limited. And I think it's because of, I think a ton of that has to do with Big Ben. I don't have it in front of me, but I know the PFF grades on the quarterbacks in the NFL, the quarterback rating. I think Big Ben might be the worst. Maybe only Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson rookies are ahead of him, but he's one of the worst quarterbacks in the NFL, and it just keeps deteriorating and declining. And we talked about, I forgot one team we talked about earlier about how it's hard to win, the Patriots with limited offense. Most teams could at least roll out the ball and score 20 points, but if the Steelers, it was...
And Juju and Claypool are good receivers in Johnson. They're good receivers.
Yeah, but if you just can't, if you can't break 20 points, if you're stuck at 10 and 17 points, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. You're not going to win games in this league. And, the Steelers have had, they've had a tough time opening up this offense now for the first quarter of the year. They could barely break 20 points. I don't think they have yet.
Yeah, it's... When do you think when it's time for somebody?
I think when you see something happen over and over, week after week, and it's the same thing, and there's not much that's being changed, that's somewhat of a concern. Watching some of the games today, I got a good appreciation about just, how good the players are in this league, and there's really no easy wins, even with like the Texans and Lions, but guys make plays. It's going to be a tough games. Everyone's going to have a tough game, but with the Steelers offense and Big Ben, it's just been constant, happening over and over and over, and it's the same thing every single week with them. I think the time is already here. It's probably past of Big Ben. Steelers had a lot of problems, a lot of questions on what they're going to do, and they're quickly 1-3.
Yeah, and the thing too is you mentioned this, but PFF, only Lawrence and Wilson being worse, and I think personally Wilson and Lawrence are better than Ben because I think for all the mistakes they make, they're capable of making explosive plays. Ben can't even do that, and for being a veteran, you would think he'd be able to play smart football and take care of it. He's been a turnover machine throughout the season.
Right. Yeah, and they, yes, they got the punt return touchdown against the Bills, but you take that out, that wasn't offense. They scored 16, 17, 10, and 17 points. But, you just look at these teams. They got to play the Broncos, Seahawks, Browns, Bears. I don't care how good your defense is. If your offense is scoring like 17 points, the other team is always going to be in the game. And you're probably going to have to play from behind against most of these teams like the Steelers did today. They also had a bad miss on a possible field goal that got returned for a touchdown. Joe Hayden jumped off sides. That negated a play that really had a chance to get the Steelers back into the game, I think, at the end of the half. But this was a tough watch, and it just continues building up to the Steelers. But there's no easy wins on their schedule right now, especially with this offense. Steelers have to be looking, when do we have to say, is Big Ben the quarterback on this team that's giving us the best chance to win?
And I don't know what Matt Canada's doing having to throw 40 times a game to only, 15 rushes. I don't know. There's a lot of soul searching that needs to be done in Pittsburgh. The Packers kind of ran through them. Not much of a shocker.